So, welcome to episode 15 of Two Girls, a Guy, and a TARDIS.
Yay.
I said it without any alcohol. The one in which we have no guest. The one in which we have no news. So, we do have some... so we do have some stuff to talk about. We're going to talk about some old episodes. Joanna watched the Five Doctors. Nicole pointed out that we never talked about Earthshock, which is a great Peter Davison story.
We had our guest.
We had our guest, Sarah. Yeah, so we didn't really talk about it. And then we... what was the other episode you said? The Three Doctors?
Yeah.
Three Doctors. I like that one. So many people hate it. So, we consider ourselves the podcast for the regular fan. Because we get past a lot of the production things and stuff that could be taken as, it sucks, because it's still Doctor Who. Joanna will be joining us randomly and periodically through the episode. I guess let's start with the oldest one. Let's start with the Three Doctors. Joanna, did you watch that one at all?
Yes, I did.
Okay, what were your impressions of it, being a new Who fan?
I don't know. I didn't really... I thought it was fine, but it was also kind of campy in a while. It was supposed to be that fun episode.
I think that's what they were going for. I mean, the interaction between the three was great.
Mm-hmm.
It was.
So these are my replacements: a dandy and a clown.
I preferred... After seeing the Five Doctors, I think I preferred the Five Doctors because it was more of the storyline.
Yeah.
It seemed to make a little bit more sense to me.
I think the Three Doctors was... The storyline of the Three Doctors, though, was... I like, the Five Doctors, I don't know if it actually fits in anywhere. Like, it was done as a complete, random one-off thing.
Yeah.
I don't know how the Three Doctors was at the time, if it was supposed to be standalone or not. But it was neat seeing Patrick Troughton in color, without being colorized.
Yes.
I always kind of like it just because it's fun.
Yeah, I like it.
And I like Pertwee. A lot of people don't, and I don't really quite get that. Like, I just posted... did the Pertwee one post yet? No. I wrote the Pertwee article and should post in a couple of days, because I've been writing ahead, the companion and doctor profiles. And, the Pertwee one should be posting soon, and I really enjoyed it. A lot of his time period, And when you think of Pertwee, though, you think of Joe Grant.
Yeah.
You think of Trout and you think of Zoe and Jamie. Hartnell, I always think of Susan and Barbara and Ian.
Yeah.
I mean, Ben and
Then what about
Ben and what's her name, Polly were near the end.
Yeah,
and
they were with
good.
both.
Yeah, they were with both. And, Pertwee, I always think Joe. Tom Baker, you always think Sarah Jane. Mm-hmm. I mean, she technically was with Pertwee, but you always think Sarah Jane.
She was with both, like how Rose was with the 9th and the 10th Doctor.
Yeah, she was in the last season with Pertwee, and then 4 or 5 with... I
think it was 2.5, really.
With Pertwee?
With Baker. She wasn't with them as long as it
No, you're
seems
right.
like
it wasn't. She wasn't. You're right.
Because they had to get Leela, Romana 1, Romana 2,
Adric, Tegan, Nissa.
Yeah.
And there was some in there that I know we just missed, too.
Harry was with Sarah.
There's another woman, too, I think. I don't remember. But you always think of Sarah Jane when you think of Tom Baker, because she was prominently with him versus Pertwee. Mm-hmm. And Peter Davison, I always think Tegan and Nissa.
Well, I said
that's what always makes me think of Tom, that period. And it's funny because when you think of Colin Baker's time, you're like Perry.
Wait,
yes.
There's Turlo with Turlo and Tegan.
Yeah, but Turlo was a douchebag. No, Nissa was there. Nissa was with him.
Because I know Turlo was in the Five Doctors.
Yes. But I mean, the Peter Davison era outside of that episode, you always think of Tegan. Mm-hmm. That's,
Yes.
And I said in that Entertainment Weekly thing, when they were talking about, the iconic companion, for Peter Davison, they put Perry.
He was only with her for, 3 episodes.
I was like, where did they get that from? That is so not... I mean, you think of that with Colin Baker, because she was with him for most of his run.
Yeah, and then you think of Sylvester McCoy, and you think of Ace. Mm-hmm. I never
Skip Mel.
I never... I didn't have a problem with Mel, but it's just she doesn't come to mind when you think of McCoy. You think of Ace hitting a Dalek with a baseball bat. Don't forget, Remembrance of the Daleks is up this month, isn't it?
Yeah.
That is, if this new anniversary episode in November is as good as that, or at least half as good as that, they've done a good job. Because I've read other people say this, and I agree completely that the Remembrance of the Daleks is probably it's an anniversary episode done properly, where like stuff like Silver Nemesis is how not to do one. But so you liked the Three Doctors because it was fun, but you just didn't like really get into it. Kind of, you didn't think the plot was there.
No, I just couldn't get into it. I mean, it was fun seeing all three of them together. But
it was fun watching the Brig look at the two of them.
Hartnell with them. It was just mainly.
Well, that's because Hartnell by that point couldn't remember lines, and he could barely walk.
So they needed him separate, so he wouldn't cause retakes with other people, I think.
In fact, in the Five Doctors, that's not even Hartnell.
Yeah.
That's a different actor.
Oh, I know.
That looks pretty close.
He doesn't really act like him. He's not mean enough. There's no way Hartnell would have gotten along with Tegan.
No.
And the two of them are like buddies in that. I'm like, no.
Well, maybe because she was wearing a miniskirt.
Hartnell would have been like, get away from me, young lady. Be quiet and stand over there.
Oh, so I've gotten another guy at work hooked on Doctor Who. I told him to start with Eccleston, start with the first episode. I go, it's a little slow. I go, but the show does nothing but get better. And he's made it through World War III. And even that one, as campy as the costuming was, he liked it. He's like, this show's pretty good. He goes, I love the concept of it. I love, he loved The End of the World, the second one. He thought that was great. I'm like, I think so too. I think it's one of my favorites. So I started rewatching some of the Tennant episodes. I hate saying it. Like, I hadn't seen them in so long that, you watch these new ones with Matt Smith, you're like, oh, they're awesome. Dude, Tennant had some really, really good episodes. I mean, New Earth wasn't bad. Tooth and Claw was great. The Shakespeare one with Martha was great. I mean, there's so many of them that were just... That's when the show really took maybe more of an adult tone, I guess, in a sense. And more like a young adult tone, not like a kid's. But, man, so many of the episodes with him were just so good. I said it before that I think he's, out of the new ones, he's probably my favorite. And I'll say it, I'll agree with that again. I like Matt Smith. I'm not devastated he's leaving. I want to see who they're going to get and how he's going to play it, But, man, some of those Tennant episodes some of them show Doctor Who at the best. Just like Asylum of the Daleks, It shows what Doctor Who is, or the Angels episodes, So, the Three Doctors, to me, though, I liked it. I thought it was so campy how at the end the recorder is like in the field for making it so it's antimatter or whatever. It's the opposite of wherever they are.
Yes, it didn't go through that conversion process.
Yeah.
Because it was stuck in the console, the TARDIS.
Yeah, like somehow. Like, how did it even get in there? So I thought that was kind of corny. I loved watching the Brigadier just kind of, like, look at him and... no one ever brings up the Brigadier as a companion. I consider him one. He was with Pertwee the majority of the time. And he was, it's funny because he's not... You don't hear about Unit till Spearhead from Space. In the Troughton episode, he's just with the military. No, they don't say Unit. And he's not a brigadier yet. He's like a general or something.
But I think in the Invasion, I think they start Unit. And he's a brigadier then. You're
right. It's the Invasion where it's Unit. Yeah, that's right. The one prior to that, with the Yeti, he's not. That's right. But you don't really hear much more about it because he's only in a couple with Troughton. But the Pertwee years and then the beginning of the Baker year, and to be honest, I watched some of the early Baker ones, like Robot and stuff. He's kind of unlikable. I mean, he's kind of a dick. I mean, like, Unit supported him and helped him out, and he's like, all right, see ya. I'm like, wow. But some of those are good. A lot of those are good, But Three Doctors, I just enjoyed the interaction between Pertwee and Troughton.
Yeah.
I just thought it was so good.
Because in the Five Doctors, they don't really come together.
Not till the end.
Till the very, very end. Except fake Hartnell and...
Yeah. Here's a little
Davison for a while.
Here's a little, which I think that was done on purpose. The first Doctor and the latest one. I mean, that makes sense.
But there's no way that Hartnell would have gotten along with Tegan. He would have smacked her.
I still want to see Ace and Rose. Because I think Ace would have... I think there's a lot of companions that Ace would have beaten the hell out of. I do like the interaction between, like I said, like Pertwee and Hartnell. You know what I never thought about, and I read an article about it. Pertwee was like kind of the first one to have a catchphrase. If you really watch the episodes, there at least half of them he says, "Reverse the polarity of the neutron flow." And I never paid attention to it. And then I read that, and I've been watching him again. I'm like, son of a... Yeah, he does. He says it all the time. He was the first Doctor with a car. He had Bessie. He had the hovercraft, the Who-mobile.
Actually, yes. Wait, the yellow car was Bessie, right?
Yes, yeah.
And there's... I don't know. It's either Doctor 1 or Who 1.
It's Who 1 on the plate.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And I love the license plate. I'm like...
Well, a little-known fact is actually in the Hartnell years and I think the Troughton years, if you look in the credits, he's credited as Doctor Who. And he even calls him... They call him Doctor Who in a couple of the old episodes.
He's credited as Doctor Who, I think, even through Pertwee and...
I know for a fact through Hartnell and Troughton. I don't know about Pertwee, maybe.
I think pretty much throughout the show they kept with the Doctor Who. They didn't... No, not with the new series. But I think through most of the old series he was... Because I think in the credits... For, like, the Three Doctors, they have, Doctor Who.
I'd have to look. I don't remember. But, like I said, I saw that. But he was referred to as Doctor Who in the War Machines, I believe. Yeah, the War Machines. Hartnell had a lot of companions he went through. I mean, okay, you had...
Well, they kept changing the production team, I think, so everyone wanted to bring in their new...
It was only like 3 or 4 years, though, too. But you had, Troughton had Ben and Polly, and then Zoe and Jamie.
Victoria.
Oh, Victoria was in there for like a week.
Year.
Yeah, like a year or something, yeah. But prior to that, Hartnell had Susan and Barbara and Ian
Vicky,
and Dodo
Steven.
and Vicky and Steven and Polly. No, not Polly. Yeah, Polly
Ben
and Ben.
Polly came in at the very end.
When Dodo left, I think that's a lot. And they were all there for, I think a couple of them were only there for a year. Like, Dodo wasn't around long.
No.
But they were saying how some companions didn't get a good farewell, and they're like, well, Liz Shaw didn't really get a farewell, and Dodo did. And I'm like, yeah, well, Liz was pregnant, and they already decided not to renew her contract before the season ended anyway. I think Liz Shaw was the companion that paved the way for strong-willed women companions like Donna and Martha, though.
I think Barbara.
Barbara kind of did, I think.
Barbara kicked ass.
Yeah, but Barbara did.
Then they went weaker.
Good. Yeah, but then you got to Liz.
Polly just screamed.
So did Zoe. But Zoe was like 16. How about you, Nicole? What do you like about the Three Doctors? Or don't like?
I love the Doctors all together.
Yeah.
Because for me, on the Five Doctors, they're not together enough. It's just the very end for like a moment, and then they're all like, oh, okay.
They just walk into the TARDIS, and one leaves, and the next one goes.
I like the bickering.
Yes. Yeah.
It seemed like very childish, and like in a fun, sort of, like, sibling rivalry kind of way.
Also, do you notice in the old series, the new one, we can't cross dimensions, right? Mm-hmm. The old one, they were going to E-space, and they were going all over the place. Mm-hmm. Because it wasn't Adric from a E-space planet or something?
I think so.
Where Baker picked them up?
Yeah, and then... Yeah, because in Earthshock he wants to go...
He wants to go back, and he's trying to figure out... He comes up with the coordinates.
Yeah,
the good old classics.
I just love them together.
Mm-hmm.
And I like Omega, and I love those bizarre henchmen. I just want to know who created them and who went, I know, we'll make them big, brownish blobs with little balls on them. Perfect look. And they match the walls.
Yeah, that's camouflage pretty good.
It's like but I want to know who, like, drew up that plan. I'm sure I could find out.
I want to know how high the person that green lit it was.
I want to know how someone came up with that look. They went, I know.
Well, what about in, give me a second here. planet of the Daleks, where they have the invisible people on the planet, but then when it gets cold, they wear the bright purple, like, Trout-esque, like, pullover jackets. It's like, really? That was your plan? The natives on the planet can be invisible, but they can't withstand the temperatures of their own planet?
Yeah,
But yeah,
I want to know who designed, because it's just so bizarre.
Also, wasn't the Three Doctors the first one that said how the TARDISes get power and stuff, pretty much? Like, that they're all linked to the Eye of Harmony and all that? Because it's all discussed in there.
Yeah, they mentioned the Eye of Harmony. And
which was why it was so nice when, in Journey to the Center of the TARDIS, where you see the Eye of Harmony. Mm-hmm. You know, it must be kept in, like, some field that, you know, which, okay, cool. Mm-hmm. I like it overall. I enjoy that one.
Yeah, I do. I was just showing it to someone, as I've been showing some classic episodes.
Yeah, it's funny.
I was like, and I did say, I'm like, okay, it might not be the world's greatest story. I'm like, but it's just fun.
The interaction is what does it.
Like,
Joanna will join
like
us in a second, but we're going to continue to discuss because, why not? I really like it too, same reasons, and I watch it probably a couple times a year. There's a few episodes I watch, a couple times a year, and it makes me smile. It's just,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just love them together.
You know what made me smile too? Watching Robot with Baker driving Bessie. Like, you never think about it, that he was, he had Bessie too.
Yeah.
But yeah.
He doesn't use his Venusian Aikido, though.
No.
No one else uses that. If Pertwee knew it, shouldn't they all have some knowledge of it?
I really like the fact that Pertwee's era was so much, like, more up-tempo. Mm-hmm. Hey, welcome back.
Oh, hi again.
So we were just saying how, isn't it funny how no one else has used Venusian Aikido since Pertwee?
I haven't seen many of the Pertwee episodes.
You're missing out.
I should have.
But like I said, there's a lot of people that don't like that era. And, some people are like, well, it's too action-y. I thought, first off, he was a scientist. He was more of a scientist than most of them. Because he'd make all kinds of gadgets and stuff to fight off the creatures. McCoy did that, too, in some of his episodes. Mm-hmm. But if push came to shove, he'd shove back.
Yeah.
And that was the thing. And, he was an older guy. I mean, these newer doctors are all younger than he was. Mm-hmm. And push comes to shove, he's going to try shoving you back if he needs to. Mm-hmm. It's either going to be with some kind of death ray or with Aikido, which is actually, it was just karate, they said.
Yeah.
Which...
But yeah, I love that one. And I like it better than the Five Doctors. Because the Five Doctors is nice because it has the companions.
The Five Doctors gets a little convoluted. There's so much going on. I like it.
Well, I showed that one to my mom. She's seen Three Doctors and the Five Doctors. She liked the Three Doctors better. Because she was like, it made more sense.
The Two Doctors wasn't horrible. With Colin Baker. That's to be honest, they probably should have showed that one. What did they show? Vengeance on Varus or something?
But no, she liked the Three Doctors too, because she felt the Five Doctors was kind of confusing times.
Because there's so much going on.
Yeah, she was like, but yeah, for me, that's what I liked. I liked all of them together.
I agree.
I wish the Five Doctors had them together a little bit more, although it's still fun.
Yeah,
I like it. I love.
You're right.
Them
the Hartnell
stuck together.
should have been a little more crotchety.
Yeah,
it was nice seeing Susan. Didn't she age so well? She had to be in her 50s, probably. By the time Five Doctors aired, late 40s.
40s, probably. Because I think she was in her early 20s, maybe, when she took on the role, and it's 20 years. So.
Yeah. Okay. But
probably early 40s.
She looked good. She still looked the part.
Pertwee never aged.
No. In fact, did you ever see him in Dimension in Time? He still looks the same, and he died like 3 years after that. Mm-hmm. You there?
I don't know where I am.
But, no, we were just talking about how, like, Pertwee even looks like he never aged. When you look at the Five Doctors and the Three Doctors, he looks the same.
Yeah. Troughton looks a little older.
And Joanna's gone again. Troughton still looks pretty good, even in the Baker episode.
Yeah.
But, oh, man.
But he looks a little... Pertwee, you, could have...
I don't understand all the hatred towards Dimensions in Time. It was fun. You saw all of them again.
But it
was not a great plot, but it's for charity. It's not. It doesn't have to be.
Well, then they had that weird crossover with the.
Whatever the big name.
The soapy.
Yeah, but again, it was for charity. So how can you really criticize and rip on an episode that's 10 minutes long or 20 minutes long written for charity?
Well, yeah, I don't worry about that too much. It's
the sounds of the clicks are people turning this podcast off after I said that.
I mean, I wouldn't argue that it's a great story, but it's just
not at all, but
basically
it's fun to watch.
the point is just to go, hey, look.
And I've been to some of those locations in Greenwich. No, we were saying how Pertwee, if you look at him in the Three Doctors and you look at him in the Five Doctors, the guy didn't age. I mean, he looks almost the same.
He looked good.
And then if there's a video called Dimensions in Time.
Yeah, Dimensions.
And it was like
in
a little
Time.
crossover between some soap opera and Doctor Who after Who went off the air. And it was one of those charity things. And yeah, the storyline's kind of horrible. The plot's not there. But it was done for charity, and they're all in it, and Pertwee's in it, and the guy still looks like he looks maybe 10 years older than he did in the 60s. And he died, I think, 2 years after that. I mean, he aged very well. I still want to get his biography he wrote. It's just hard to find because it's out of. I think it's going into print again, but oh man, he made Doctor Who. He gave it a nice amount of action, but like I said, enough thinking and scientific, like reversing the polarity of the neutron flow.
Which makes no sense scientifically because neutrons don't have a polarity, but...
No, it wasn't the neutrons. It was the flow of them. It still makes as much sense as Matt Smith reversing the polarity to bring people back to life.
I'm not going to argue that it should make sense. I just know it technically, scientifically makes no sense, but it worked.
So, on to Earthshock. Probably one of the better Cybermen stories.
I enjoyed the Cybermen in this one.
They're far more evil.
Cybermen.
I find the old Cybermen more evil.
Oh, they were more diabolical.
Yeah. I mean, like... Go ahead.
They were more diabolical. They were more calculating.
Yeah, they planned stuff. It wasn't just... That's what got me with the Gaiman episode. They had the cyber planner, but there was no real plan. Like, okay, we're just going to release them all and kill you and then take over the universe. Did you think this through at all?
Apparently not.
I mean, like, they hid in cargo containers on a cargo ship heading for Earth. I mean, it was good writing, plot-wise, I thought. What else did you like about it, Joanna?
I like seeing Adric. I mean, we know what happens to Adric. Finally, I know what part of his storyline, and that was really well done. I mean, I liked him. He was definitely like a teenager, like a normal teenager.
Yeah, I mean, when I say he's the Will Wheaton of not Will Wheaton. When I say he's the Wesley Crusher of Doctor Who, he really was, and it was before Star Trek Next Generation came on with Wesley Crusher. He was a young kid that. Well, I mean, I guess really Zoe was though too. I mean, he's kind of a male version of her, only more whiny. Because she was like a math. She was a math genius. Yeah. She tested really high. She was almost as smart as a doctor in some ways. And Adric was the same way. Adric was a math genius, and kind of like Nicole.
I don't have a badge though.
We'll get you one. But
I want a little gold star.
I think Adric, to a point, got a bad rap in some of the episodes. I can't say I really enjoyed his character, but I don't think, in retrospect, it was as bad as when I watched it when I was younger.
I think he was definitely.
I think it's just more. I think it's just more the episodes are bad.
Teenage angst.
Well, yeah, but I also think that just some of the episodes that he was in just weren't at the height of the show's, style. Like the one where they find him isn't really a great episode with Tom Baker. I mean, it's okay.
Yeah, he's...
Right, Baker finds him, right? Because he's on the TARDIS when Baker turns to Davison. Yeah. It's him and Tegan.
Nyssa, too.
And Nyssa, I think they're all there.
He picked up all of them.
He picked up all of them like 3 episodes before Legopolis, and then... Legopolis? No.
Yeah.
What's the one after Legopolis? What's the first one?
Castrovalva.
That's okay, yeah. Yeah, because they go to Castrovalva because he needs to... did some episodes with the Master, too. And you don't even realize it for the first, 3 parts. And then all of a sudden, hey, the Master's here. But, yeah...
Well, that one, too, doesn't really help Adric. Because, Castrovalva, he's, being held prisoner by the Master and made to control... And then all he is, and he's kind of oh, no, I don't want to do it.
But I'll do it anyway.
Yeah, and then he does, and you're like, well, yeah, that didn't really help his character much.
Yeah, but you saw that coming.
Just whiny and... I mean, it made
Wow.
sense. He was being held prisoner, but it just makes him kind of annoying, too.
True. I never really liked Nissa much when I was younger, but now I watch him. I'm like, Nissa was all right. A little dull, but I don't know. Yeah, I think the Cybermen back then, to me, seemed... They weren't scary, but they were... I don't know.
More diabolical.
Yeah.
More calculating.
They were an evil villain. Where the new ones are just kind of like... They're trying to make them the Daleks. And it's not going to work, because the Cybermen weren't like that before. The Daleks were like that before.
Yeah, they're...
They haven't showed any Dalek episodes, have they?
No.
So Remembrance will be the first one, and it's probably one of the best ones. Like, a lot of people say Genesis of the Daleks with Tom Baker, which that's a fabulous episode with him and Sarah Jane. That and Remembrance and Asylum are probably my top 3 Dalek episodes. I mean, I think they're great. But there's so few good Cybermen ones. John Pertwee was the only Doctor that did not encounter the Cybermen. So, Nicole, what did you think about Earthshock?
My only thing with that version of the Cyberman costume was I sometimes get a little distracted because you can, like, see the person's mouth moving sometimes.
You're going to ruin this for me now, because I never noticed that. Now every time I watch it, I'm going to notice that.
I noticed it. I kept going, like, why? They've never had that on any other... But there's, like, more of a gap. And I was like, it's distracting me.
They looked more like what I thought they would look like from when you read descriptions in books and stuff. They look more... You there, Joanna?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I was gone for a moment.
No, we know that. I just Nicole what her views were. And she said how you can notice the people's lips move behind the costume, which I never noticed before, and now it's going to ruin every time I watch
Sorry.
it.
I could see it, and I was like...
I think the old Cybermen, like I was telling Nicole, to me, they fit more with what I would expect something called the Cyberman to look like.
Well, the ones now are just almost like robots.
The newest, well, yeah, and they're not supposed to be.
They're not. I mean,
There's
I know they
no
still
humanity.
convert people, but
Well, but the thing is, do they? Because there was a headless one.
yeah. Well, yeah. That's
What part of the body's left in them? Because the original Cybermen, they replaced pieces of the body, and the body was still technically there. And they even say in the new one that they can convert different species. Are they converting headless species? What the? So I don't know. I think, like, Joanna said, they were more diabolical, and they were more formidable. Like, the new ones, it's like, in the weaponry, they had weapons. They didn't just, like, hold up their hand and...
Yeah.
I mean, that's what the Autons do. Come on.
Yeah. Well, the older ones were a little more human, so they were kind of creepier because they remind you that they were human that turned into... The ones now, it's like...
You think they're robots.
Yeah,
you don't even
they're-
realize that they're... Yeah, there's no human...
They might
piece
as
of
well
them.
just be robots.
Yeah.
The robotic race that's coming.
When the ATMs rise up and take over.
But yeah, they had... they were more an element of, like, being human. Now they're just... Yeah, it might as well just be a race of robots coming to... But...
Sure.
But yeah, and then I had kind of forgotten how Adric died. Like, I remembered that he died, but I'd kind of forgotten some of the details, and I was like, watching it, I was like, did he really need to stay?
He thought he was saving Earth.
Yeah.
And then that Cyberman shot the council. Realistically, it almost reminds me of, was it George C. Scott writing the bomb down in, what was that movie?
Yeah, Dr. Strangelove. That was Slim Pickens, I believe.
Was it Slim Pickens? I'm sorry. George C. Scott's in that movie, I think, though. But, I almost had this image of Adric after, like, they stopped showing him, just being like, oh, well, woo-hoo. I mean, what do you do at that point,
But I'd forgotten, because,
His
like,
last words are like, I guess I'll never know.
Yeah. I thought, in my memory, it was like he died, like, saving the Earth. And then you realize...
he died trying to save it. Yeah.
Oh, he was completely noble in his...
because...
But...
They were going between time periods, and there were no humans there.
And that's what caused the Big Bang. Or not Big Bang, the dinosaur
extinction?
Yeah.
The mass extinction?
I was thinking the
big
crash
bang.
of the
Wow.
meteor. Yeah.
So Earth is galactic zero?
Yes. In my universe,
Good to know.
in the science fiction world I'm developing.
There might be some physicists that take issue with that. Just a couple. But you may win a Nobel Peace Prize if you can find a way to convince people.
I'm going back to the Earth-centric view. I'm going back before
The
Galileo.
the Earth is the center of the universe?
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'd forgotten that he thought he was doing something heroic and it's noble, yeah. But that actually it was kind of pointless.
If he had pulled it off, the entire history of the world would be rewritten.
Yeah.
So he had to die.
Yeah.
I mean, they couldn't be like, oh, well, hey, they land in like 1985 and there's like dinosaurs hanging out with people. I mean, people have pet raptors, you know?
Yeah.
As cool as that would be, you know?
Well, that's Wedding a River Song.
You there, Joanna?
Yes, I am.
Woohoo. We were just saying how, Adric died doing what he thought was something noble, except that he had gone back in time and basically, if he had saved the Earth, he would have saved the dinosaurs, so wouldn't the future have been a little different?
I said Wedding a River Song. The dinosaurs and the people and
Everyone living in harmony.
Yeah. People have raptors as pets and shit. But, no,
yeah,
that was also one of the first instances where the Doctor... There's only been a couple times in the past, but they actually would explain why he can't just go back and save people better back then, because... Was it a Pertwee episode I was watching? Or it was either a Troughton or a Pertwee episode. And I think he says it in the Five Doctors, too. He goes, we can't go back and change it because we've become part of the event. Mm-hmm. Where now they had 19 different reasons they can't do it, and then do it anyway.
Yeah.
But I remember in the old ones, it was once they become part of that event, the chain of events, you can't go and change it again because now it's going to change everything differently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, that was just I just forgot.
I remember Tegan was just losing it on him, saying, if you have a time machine, you can go back and... Which, realistically, knowing that it didn't matter, he probably could have. But I don't think they wanted Matthew Waterhouse back. Nice guy, but his character didn't do well.
Yeah. No, that was just what I forgot. Like, in my mind, it was like, oh yeah, he was saving the Earth. And then I'm like, no, he thought he was saving the Earth. Actually doing... nothing.
What was the big deal with the end of the episode? Was that the first episode that ended with no music?
I think so.
Right? It just rolled the credits? It was just silence? So I thought it was the first one where a companion died, but that wasn't right either, because that happened years ago. Do you know Jamie was in more episodes than Sarah Jane? Mm-hmm. By a lot. And almost all of them are lost. Well, because you got to remember, it used to be one story was 4 to 6 episodes.
And a lot of the Troughton ones are like 8.
Yeah, some of the Troughton ones are 8. I think the War Games are 10.
Yeah.
But Jamie was in... Interesting side note, I put this on the blog, in the Jamie post. I don't know if that's posted yet. During the War Machines, he got chickenpox. The actor that played Jamie. So to get around the fact that he couldn't act...
Mind Robber, I'm sorry,
not the War Games. During the Mind Robber. So to get around it, they brought another guy in, and they made it where the Doctor put the face together wrong, and it was the other guy.
Fake Jamie.
Fake Jamie. But yeah, he was in like a phenomenal... If you count Sarah Jane Adventures and the fact that she was in some of the newer ones, or the one, and her other spin-off stuff, she comes out with more episodes. But just in pure Doctor Who, Jamie's like the winner. Jamie was in a ton of episodes.
He's maybe the only companion that was basically with a doctor the whole time.
He came
the first episode he missed, and then...
Yeah, he came in the second episode of
one.
The Highlanders, and he was all the way through the...
War Games.
And it sucked how he had to leave.
Yeah.
Him and Zoe, that sucked. They erased the Time Lords... basically, the Doctor can't return everybody to their time streams. He doesn't have the time or space or whatever. I don't remember the reasoning. Mm-hmm. So he contacts the Time Lords for help, and at this point, he's still a renegade on the run. So what they do is they return everyone where they're supposed to go, and then they put him on trial. They force him to regenerate, banish him to Earth, and they erase all memories that Jamie and Zoe had of the Doctor, except for the first encounter, and send them back to their times. Oh. But now there's people that have a theory that, because Jamie pops up again with Colin Baker and the 2 Doctors, and they're like, well, how could that have been? Because where would Zoe have been and everything? So there are people that speculate that before they banished him, they used him as like a spy for one last mission kind of thing, and him and Jamie went forward in time, did that, and then came back and did it, and got banished or whatever. Because it's a good point. Why would you? How could you explain it? Plus, they say something like Victoria's still with him or something, which is weird.
Yeah,
but yeah, so they get their memories. Also in the expanded stuff, though, because there's in one of the episodes somebody was saying with Troughton, he teaches Zoe how to like keep people out of her mind and how to remember, like do stuff. So in some of the expanded books and stuff where she's in, they say that she like regains her memories. So I don't know, but that doesn't count. I mean, I try to stick to the TV stuff now. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's what happens to them. I mean, that kind of sucked.
Yeah.
Zoe would have been Zoe would have fit in perfect in color. With the glittery outfit.
Yeah.
So, but that's how they did it. And that was the first episode I think they called them Time Lords. And also, it wasn't called Regeneration for the first 2 or 3 Doctors. It was called Renewal. Yeah.
Yeah. They were.
See, I learned things. See.
You share your knowledge.
So that was interesting. But yeah, so in Earthshock, I was saying how in the older episodes, including Earthshock, when Tegan says, why can't you go back and save him? He kind of basically says, I can't because he became part of the event. Where nowadays, or they're part of the event or something. I don't remember what Davison says, but in other episodes, that's what they say. Where nowadays, there's like all kinds of cockamamie excuses. My favorite was, we can't go back to save Rory because it'll cause a paradox. Well, it shouldn't be a problem because you wiped out all the other paradoxes when they jumped off the building.
There's such a huge scar in time, you can't...
Yeah.
Damn
you.
I think they just wanted to end Rory and Amy timeline, so
then why didn't they just leave them why didn't they just leave them at the end of season 6 then?
I don't know. That would have been happy.
It was such a good ending for them. I mean, it was a perfect ending for a change, for a companion.
Well, we've said they could have done that even at the end of 7A. They were like building and building to them having to choose, and then...
Yeah, and then they make this big deal
Ryan
about...
just goes, no, go. And then they're like, oh, okay, all of our doubts, come on.
Yeah, and then of course everyone's like, oh, they killed Rory and Amy off. Oh my god. Okay, do you want me to run through the list of ones I know for a fact got killed off? Because let's see, there was Adric, and then there was Katrina, and there were like 4 other ones.
Sarah Kingdom, if you count her.
Well, she's counted because she was in like 8 episodes.
They're all in one story, though.
That was 8 episodes. She was in the TARDIS. Sarah Kingdom, there's a name for you.
Okay, who is Sarah Kingdom?
Sarah Kingdom is an old companion from Hartnell?
Yeah.
Hartnell. From the Hartnell years. She was in...
Dalek's Master Plan.
Yes, thank you. Yeah. That's the one where he ditches Susan, isn't it?
No. That's Dalek Invasion of Earth.
That's right, because she stays to rebuild Earth. That's right. But yeah, so she was like a companion, but it's questionable because she was only in one story, but that story spanned like 8 episodes.
12. It's a 12-parter.
Was it really? Oh yeah, it was. It was 12 parts.
But she's not in all the parts. I think she comes in later.
That one story spanned 12 episodes, which is more than season 7A.
It's 3 months.
No, it's more than season 7A and B. Right? Because wasn't there 6 and 6? It was like
it's
5, the Christmas special,
5,
and then 6.
Yeah. Maybe there's 8, so 14 maybe. Maybe it was 14.
Back in the old days, they had one episode that was one story that long. Back when I first watched Doctor Who. But no, so Earthshock, I mean, I like it for the same reasons you guys like it. I like when they do sci-fi. I've never been a fan of going back to the past a lot. Sometimes they do it right. Like the Shakespeare episode was done pretty well, or the Van Gogh episode. You know what episode I forgot about, and the guy at work was watching? The one with Charles Dickens, where they meet Gwyneth. I totally forgot about that. That was
dead. Yeah.
The guy that played Charles Dickens, he's like, that guy was perfect. He was brilliant. I'm like, yeah, that guy was really good. And Joanna's gone again. So that leads us to another Peter Davison episode, which when she comes back, I'll ask her. The 5 Doctors. Again, another one that I even bought it on VHS. I think I still have it. I just think it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just fun. It's nice seeing them all again, and the Master's in it. You know,
Dalek, Cybermen,
that assassin that that destroys that Cyberman like
Hello?
nothing. Yeah, we're here. Can you hear us now? I like Peter Davison. I like how when they were pulling the Doctors out of his time stream, he felt parts of him go missing.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was pretty good. We were saying how we thought it was fun. We like how the Cybermen are in it differently. What did you think of the interaction? I mean, there was not a lot of interaction between the Doctors, but what did you think of the storyline of it?
It was good. I kind of liked it. I enjoyed it. I mean, it was a good storyline. I mean, I liked it better than the Three Doctors, but I love seeing like the Third Doctor. I wish we had saw Tom Baker as part of.
I think he didn't want to come back because it was too soon to him leaving. Yeah.
But he said later he regretted it.
It was because it was a success. You were saying you didn't understand why they picked the Master, right?
Yes. Why couldn't they have picked Romana or someone else?
Well, because it had to be someone that the Doctor wouldn't trust.
Why?
Well, because Romana, first off, wouldn't be scheming enough to be able to pull off stuff the Master does, I don't think. You know? But I think the main reason was that they had all the bad guys in it and they wanted to get the Master. Because the Master is still an iconic character. Especially the old school, like, you know, goatee, black suit, you know.
Yeah, so really they got the three probably most iconic villains in there.
They had the Cybermen, the Daleks, the Master.
The one lone Dalek that no reason for it to be there.
Well, you have
just
to have
one.
Dalek.
Yeah.
The thing is, that Dalek was exterminated right at the beginning.
But he was there. He put the effort in.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
He was kind of stupid.
I loved how the platoon of Cybermen got taken out. I would love to see that assassin thing again with today's technology for like CGI and stuff. Oh, I think it would be so cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Five Doctors. That's one of my. It's up there. That's one of the ones I watch a couple times a year. It's just it makes me feel good seeing them all.
Yeah.
Is the Brigadier in that one?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
The Brigadier's in the Brigadier's with every Doctor, I think, except Colin Baker. He meets Sylvester McCoy in what is it called? War? No, I thought War was in the title of it, but no, it's not.
Battlefield?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, it's Battlefield. He meets Peter Davison in Modern Undead or something like that. Is it Davison or is it Baker?
No, that's Davison.
Davison. He's in that one. I think he was supposed to be in the new series, and they just could never make it work. Because he was supposed to meet the 10th Doctor in a Sarah Jane Adventures episode, but he had the stroke, so he couldn't be in it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But we have his daughter.
We do, but it would have been nice to have seen the Brig one last time. Mm-hmm. His daughter's good. His daughter's good though. I always liked the Brigadier. I got a sweater that looks like the ones they wore in those days. Yeah, I have a lot of good memories of the Five Doctors. Mm-hmm. What the hell was the story about? Somebody who activated the war games again, or the Forbidden Zone?
The president.
Again? What was his name though?
I think you call him Lord President.
It wasn't the Valyard, right? That was in the Colin Baker Trial of the Time Lord story.
Yeah, he's just the president of Gallifrey.
The crooked, evil president of Gallifrey.
Wants to live forever.
Well, I mean, really. But yeah, I love how they send I love when the Master interacts with Pertwee, and he's like, Pertwee doesn't believe him. He goes, well, I have this seal. He goes, well, I'll take it back to them when I see him, since you obviously stole it, and he takes off.
Yeah.
One day I want them to kind of clear up who the Master is in relation. I always thought he was just a school, like a buddy from school, kind of, that they just had a competition. Well,
that's what he says in the Five Doctors at one point. He says to the first Doctor, we went to school together or something. We were at the academy together.
Oh, yeah, because the first Doctor never met the Master, and neither did the second one. That was from the third Doctor. But they also never really... I thought they hinted at times, too, before that it was like his brother or something. Mm-hmm. So... But then the first Doctor wouldn't know who he was, obviously.
Yeah, he doesn't say, like, I'm your brother. He says, we were at the academy together.
William Hartnell, I am your brother. But, no, it's an enjoyable watch. I think Davison had a couple of really good episodes, and that was one of them. Earthshock was the other one.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
What's another 7th Doctor episode, I should say?
The first one, Castrovalva, is not bad. So it's actually, it gets interesting. That's a good one. I'm not good with the names of episodes anymore. I mean, there's some that I know. Let's see. The one where he meets Perry was the one with the Master, and that's a long episode, too. I can't think of the name of it, but they're like in Greece or something, in the Mediterranean. And Turlo's there. At one point, there's that weird robot on the TARDIS that's hunting the chameleon that's hunting Turlo because he's a war criminal. What's the one where Davison dies or regenerates? That's a good one.
Caves of the Androzani.
Caves of Androzani, yeah, that's a good one. It's actually not a bad. It's actually not a bad episode at all. The guy falls in love with Perry, the evil guy that looks like he's from Phantom of the Opera. So there's a couple good ones. I'd have to look through a list of them and I'd be able to tell you better. The Dalek one with him was good.
Yeah.
Well, because it's a trilogy.
Resurrection of the Daleks?
There's a trilogy of Dalek stories.
Yeah, and they all start with an R.
It starts with Davison, and it's either Resurrection...
Which is why I get them confused.
It's Resurrection. Is it Resurrection? What's the second one?
Revelation?
Resurrection, Revelations of the Daleks, and then Remembrance. And even Revelations isn't a bad episode. I mean, it's, Actually, Revelations has a really good concept behind it, because it's taking place in a place where people are freezing themselves because they have terminal illnesses, like cryogenic suspension. So it was actually kind of a good story. It wasn't bad at all.
I always get those titles all because
I always get Resurrection. I always get Resurrection and Revelations mixed up. But yeah, it had to be Resurrection because there you go. That's Resurrection of the Daleks. There's some time travel involved in it, but basically the Daleks are trying to break Davros out of prison. Because they're going mad and like losing their minds or something, and they want him to fix them.
Mm-hmm. Oh, God.
Yeah, it's a good episode. That's a good one. Are you knitting?
No.
Okay.
Oh, God.
You better be paying attention.
I just plugged in my phone, so
you have no. I could not.
So what else do you get? Okay.
So
what's another?
Well, I mean that's 3 or 4 right there.
I have like all the Revelation, Resurrection, and Remembrance.
Yeah, those are like a trilogy of Dalek stories, but that's Resurrection is Davison, Revelations is Colin Baker, and Remembrance is we'll talk about. Well, you saw Remembrance, didn't you?
I don't think so.
No, it hasn't aired yet.
No, yeah, it'll be on this month.
I wanted to talk about that one so bad. It's such a good episode. I mean, it brings Doctor Who full circle at that point in time.
Yeah. I have a question. Like, I know last Saturday they had the 6th Doctor special on last Saturday.
And it was Vengeance on Varos?
Varos, yeah.
What is that one about? I always forget.
The planet is, like, people sit around and, like, watch on TV, like, all the executions and stuff. Ugh. And there's this Syl, the weird lizardy kind of guy that's there because they mine this important mineral there. I forget the name of it, and he, like, his company has the monopoly on it, and they've been, like, exploiting the planet.
This all sounds familiar, and I can't picture it. I've watched it. I mean,
then the Doctor and Perry appear because the TARDIS isn't working, and he needs that mineral to get it working.
When is it ever working?
So then they're, like, caught because, like, they have this, like, they vote, like, the what is he, the governor, whatever he is, he sits there in, like, this chair, and he, like, puts a vote to the people, and then, like, if they vote against him, he gets, like, bombarded by something to disintegrate cells, so eventually they, like, kill their governors when they disagree with them.
Wow.
It was, like, yeah, really kind of a dark story, but...
Oh, you were asking about Davison episodes? So you have Castrovalva. Yes. Fort of Doomsday is not bad. The spacewalks are kind of goofy.
Yeah.
Fort of
Doomsday is good. I don't remember what Kinda is about.
The snake, and where Tegan gets, like, taken over and they're on that planet.
Okay. Yeah, it's all right. Black Orchid, I always forget that one, too.
That's a historical one.
That's why I always forget it.
It's only 2 parts, I think.
Wow. Time Flight I've always liked. That's another Master one.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Time Flight, I would watch that one. Wait, no, Snake Dance is the one where Tegan gets the snake thing.
Kinda. She's also, I think they were both is it the Mara?
Oh, I want to say
takes over
Terminus.
her.
I want to say Terminus was pretty good too. Actually, Arc of Infinity is not bad because he's on Gallifrey. Arc of Infinity, I think, is where Colin Baker is the head of security trying to catch him and kill him. That's not a bad episode.
What's the name of it?
Arc of Infinity.
I'm writing this down so I don't forget. Hello?
Yeah, no, I'm here.
Okay, good. So I'm just like wondering, oh my gosh, you guys are...
No, I'm looking up. I'm looking up another. There's a couple that have this Black Guardian. There's a trilogy of them, and the Black Guardian's trying to have Turlo kill the Doctor. He takes over the Turlo.
Yeah.
And those are actually Modern Undead, Terminus, and Enlightenment. So those 3 you should probably watch all 3 of them. They don't. They didn't air in like a row. They're from different times, but.
So what was the first one
of that trilogy?
Yes.
Modern Undead. Because the White Guardian is who came when the Doctor went from Tom Baker to Davison.
We have Modern Undead, Terminus, and what was the other one?
Enlightenment.
Okay, got it.
I also have a soft spot for Warriors of the Deep, as bad as it is. It's a Silurian episode. I mean,
yeah.
Two Doctors wasn't too bad. Just because it was neat seeing Troughton and Jamie.
Because I'm looking forward to seeing the McCoys.
Yeah, well, Remembrance of Daleks is really the best one. It's an excellent episode.
I'm looking forward because I want to see them when it's on BBC America because they have the interviews with the doctors.
Watch Paradise Towers.
Paradise Towers?
Mm-hmm. That's his second episode. That's a good one. The first one, Time in the Rani, is not real great. It's okay. The Rani could have been used so much better. They just never really...
Well, she's in Dimensions in Time, too.
Yeah, she is. Delta and the Bannermen, Dragonfire is a good one.
Yeah.
You got those 2 written down?
Paradise Towers and Dragonfire.
Yep. Okay, and then Remembrance you're going to watch because it's going to be on.
Yes.
Keep in mind, that's how you do an anniversary episode properly. The Happiness Patrol is not a bad episode. That's a good one. Silver Nemesis is kind of not great.
I'm not going to worry about that one.
Yeah. The Greatest Show in the Galaxy wasn't too bad. It was kind of weird. But it was okay.
The Greatest Show...
Yeah, but then basically all of season 26, all 4 of them, you want to watch. So let me know when you're ready. I'll give you those.
Like all of season 24?
All of season 26. Which is Battlefield, Ghostlight, Curse of Fenric, and Survival. Those are all pretty good. Survival's really a weird episode, but they're all good.
I actually put a note saying, like, watch all of season 26.
Yeah, that was a good season. And it's funny because the 25 and 26, I mean, other than Silver Nemesis, they were all pretty good episodes. And McCoy was, interestingly enough, the first Doctor to be ranked higher in a fan poll than Tom Baker. So, he did a nice job at it. And the episodes with Ace are a little better than most of the ones with Mel. I mean, but, take that for what it is. What are you going to do?
Yeah, my mom hasn't seen Ace yet.
I loved Ace.
She saw Mel in one episode. Doesn't really remember, I don't think, because I was like, you saw Sylvester McCoy. We watched one, and she was like, I don't...
Well, Ace is in Remembrance. And my favorite part of that is he charges the baseball bat with some electrical charge, and she just starts wailing on a Dalek. Knocks the light off the top. I mean, she's just destroying that prop. And she's always running around with explosives. Nitro 9. So, but those are all good ones, McCoy ones. So, I mean, we went through the 3 episodes we were going to talk about, right?
Yep.
Oh, Joanna, you were kind of cutting off because of it. So, what did you think of the 5 Doctors?
I liked it. I mean, like, the thing is, it's like, I like the storyline better, and I think I'm more of a early modern Who to, like, modern Who fan. Not so much as the first, second, or third Doctor. Maybe not so much the fourth, but watching the Seventh Doctor really, watching the Fifth Doctor, correction.
Yeah.
Really made me just appreciate him more. And I missed the Sixth Doctor special, but I'm going to catch up and watch that one. But the thing is, the more modern Who Doctors for me, it was a lot more fun.
I kind of agree, with the exception of John Pertwee. John Pertwee, those episodes, that because it's like the swinging 60s, like early 70s, and it's like everything. It just, I don't know.
He was good. He was good. Those out of the classic Doctors, he's one of the best.
Troughton, the second Doctor, is so hard to judge because there's so many missing episodes. So you're almost listening to audios.
Yeah.
Because it's just still telesnaps. You're not the reconstructions are just pictures. The first Doctor, Hartnell, there were some really good episodes and there were some really bad episodes. But and same with Tom Baker. Tom Baker had some great episodes and then he had some really horrible ones. So I agree. I mean, Tom Baker and Hartnell and Troughton are my bottom like three. Well, maybe McGann, because I just didn't get to see enough of him. You know what I mean? But
well,
I mean, he didn't have time.
Yeah,
you know?
It's hard to judge McGann.
Off one episode.
Yeah.
So, but, you know, the ones you named off are like my top, like, 3 or 4 in the classic series. Which causes quite some discussions when you say Tom Baker is not your favorite, especially with the older fans.
Yeah, and especially with my friends. But, like, the thing is, but I do appreciate Tom Baker as the Doctor. I'm not...
Do your friends listen to us?
He's not my least favorite, so he's in the middle.
Do your friends listen to us?
I don't know, I hope so. They should listen to me.
They better.
Yeah,
They're gonna kill me if they listen to this.
They better be listening. I know them.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. So
I've met them once and talked to them many times on Twitter and Facebook. But I guess that's about it for episode 15. There's 30 minutes I have to cut out.
Yeah, they're going, hello?
Hello?
But I think we went through all the episodes that we wanted to, so that was good. And next time around we'll talk about Remembrance and Vengeance on Varos. I'll rewatch it because I haven't seen it in a while, and she's going to watch it, so... But I can't wait to talk about Remembrance. You could have an hour-long episode just talking about that. There's so many good plot points to it.
Yeah,
there's so many. It explains so much about the first Doctor, in a sense, and that's what makes it great. So, until next time,
it's 2 girls, a guy, and a TARDIS.